Samuel Alito says to the Confederate flag carrying insurrectionists, I'm with you. To the people that urinated on the floor of the United States Senate, Samuel Alito says, I am with you. To the people that defecated on the floor of the House of Representatives, Samuel Alito says, I am with you. It is May 17th, 2024, and there are 172 days left until the presidential election. This is the warning. Today, I'm in a Marriott hotel room in Salt Lake City, on the road. But I wanted to talk to you about something directly, personally. I'm feeling ashamed this morning, deeply saddened, and very angry over a story I read in the New York Times. That story details the desecration of an American flag at the home of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. The desecration of the flag is bad enough, but it was used to express solidarity and fidelity with the January 6th coup plotters, insurrectionists, and all the criminals who attacked the government of the United States, trying to install into power the loser of a presidential election. Flying the flag upside down is not a desecrative act. What it is a symbol of distress. The use of the inverted flag, claiming distress in solidarity with the coup plotters and seditionists who attacked the United States Capitol, is an outrage. And that it was done by a Supreme Court justice over which an ethical cloud already hangs is more than outrageous. It is sickening. It is disgraceful. I'm going to tell you a story today about Samuel Alito, who I know well, because I led his confirmation process when I served in the Bush White House as a deputy assistant to the president and counselor to the vice president of the United States. Here's the simple truth about Samuel Alito. He's aggrieved. He's pissed off. He's still angry about his confirmation hearings. He and his wife are bitter. They've never gotten over it. I was there. And here's the deal, Sam. When you want a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court, you get roughed up in the confirmation hearings. You are nothing special. What happened to you wasn't a shark attack. It's part of the process. And yeah, politics can be a little bit mean. But here's the thing. 18 years later, Sam Alito has never gotten over it. The simple truth is that most people who were involved in that confirmation process are deeply ashamed of their association with Samuel Alito. The overwhelming majority of people on that team view him as corrupt, view him as unworthy, and are embarrassed that they were part of a team that put him forward to a lifetime tenure on the United States Supreme Court. Think about how small, how petty Samuel Alito is. We have a radicalized Supreme Court justice, two of them, in fact, and apparently two radicalized Supreme Court spouses, one, Ginny Thomas, who was deeply involved in the coup, and the other, Martha Alito, cheering the coup with her upside-down, inverted American flag, declaring fidelity, declaring allegiance with the extremist movement. With this, there are no words to describe how disgraceful and appalling this is. Donald Trump lost the election, and so they attack America. Now, if anybody should have flown the flag upside down on January 6th, it was Mr. and Mrs. Average American watching in shock and horror as a president of the United States incited a coup that bloodied the peaceful transition of power. But the MAGA extremist movement, like all extremist movements, is superb at hijacking the symbols that are unifying symbols and turning them into divisive symbols. So the symbol of distress was perverted. The distress became the election of Biden, and that became cause to attack the country, which is an act of sedition, not patriotism. So the perversion of this symbol and its desecration for the purposes of embracing the ending of the peaceful transition of power, an act of violence aimed at preventing the presidential election process from moving forward, is something that's being celebrated, embraced from the flagpole of a Supreme Court justice who is declaring, I am with you. I am with the people who broke through the windows. Samuel Alito says to the Confederate flag carrying insurrectionists, I'm with you. To the people that urinated on the floor of the United States Senate, Samuel Alito says, I am with you. To the people that defecated on the floor of the House of Representatives, Samuel Alito says, I am with you. To the person who carried the Confederate battle flag through the rotunda of the Capitol, Samuel Alito says, I am with you. To the people that bludgeoned Capitol police officers with American flags, Alito says, I am with you. And the truth of the matter is, what a lot of those Democratic members were saying about Samuel Alito, that I thought in that moment was unfair and wrong, was dead on. Dead on. These people hate their country, and they must be held responsible for their enmity towards it by all of us. There is nothing that any of us can do about the power of Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. They're there till they breathe their last breath. Samuel Alito could be on the court for another 30 years. And if Donald Trump gets elected, he may be in a position to have 7 out of 9 appointees. Think about that. The January 6 cases devolve really to the most fundamental question maybe that will ever be decided by the Supreme Court. And the question at hand is, does a president of the United States have absolute power to the degree that he can order the killing of his political opponents? This is a radical court. It is an extreme court. And it pains me to say this, but I have no confidence in this court's ability to administer justice. It is a grave threat to the republic, just as Trump is. It's extremely important for the American people to understand presidential elections have consequences. There is a radical Supreme Court that is very quickly eroding liberty in the United States. It is one of the most corrupt institutions in the country, with the presence of 2 of the most corrupt justices in American history currently serving together, Alito and Thomas. So there is nothing to be done about the Supreme Court until there is another vacancy. And at that moment, it would be best if the American people have put into the White House somebody who appreciates the rule of law, is committed to the defense and preservation of the American Constitution, and doesn't want to appoint a judicial radical who seeks in the end to obliterate the separation of church and state and be part of a political project that raises up America's first Caesar. When will George W. Bush speak up and out about any of this? There are 172 days remaining to an election, and when George W. Bush was inaugurated for the second time, he gave a speech about democracy and the role of America spreading it all over the world. And so the question I have a hard time reconciling is, how can it be that it was America's obligation to spread democracy all over the world, even at the point of a gun and a bayonet, but not be able to find any words to defend it at home, including from people appointed by you, Mr. President? I feel the deepest disgust and contempt towards Samuel Alito and his wife. These people should practice gratitude for their country, for their immense privilege, and for the opportunities they have been given. Instead, they dare to fly the flag of the United States of America upside down, inverted, in fidelity with the people who attacked the country in a coup d'etat, trying to topple the republic. It's not just nauseating, it's wretchedly so. The neighbors who took the pictures were more than right to be worried about what they were seeing. It is an astonishing act. Not just a desecration of our national colors, but a desecration of the concept of judicial ethics, of probity, common sense, concept of rectitude. It's appalling. It's low. It's unfathomably small and cheap and tawdry. And there are literally no words I have to express my anger, my disgust, my absolute contempt for the act. Shame on him. Shame on her. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning, and I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.